How's it going, guys? It is Jaku, and what I want to just go ahead and go over this video, I want to go ahead and talk about a couple of videos I've been seeing lately. Not just one, a couple. But the main point of this video is basically just responding to Neodrao. I don't know if you guys know what Neodrao is, but basically to give you a little bit of context, I'm pretty sure everybody's seen him, but in case you haven't. Neodrao is this one Yugi-tuber who recently uploaded a video where he essentially called the Yu-Gi-Oh player base in the entire Yu-Gi-Oh community sheeps. And what he did is just basically insult everybody by saying, I'm going to go off what Vexica's 466 definition was, which is just kind of calling everybody mindless people who are emulating others' playstyles all in the name of fame and recognition and things like that. Well, first off, I'm not here to defend the guy at all. He's a complete douchebag. Simple as that. Nothing to say more about him. But anyways, what I wanted to talk about in this video is the fact that I've also saw a couple of other videos recently which are not exactly like what he said, but they're on a similar level as to what he might be talking about. What I'm talking about is, I saw this one video recently by this one YouTuber I like. He was basically just talking about the whole concept of creativity in the game right now. By the way, don't mind me, I'm just going to be organizing my cards right now. But, what he was talking about is the fact that it's hard to be able to go ahead and find a creative Yu-Gi-Oh player nowadays, which I get it. Yeah, it is difficult to find other people who are at the very least trying to find something new or at least play new decks and things like that. But there's a good reason for that, and it was summed up in another video which was just explaining the differences between the TCG and the OCG. This is your Yu-Gi-Oh channel. He was talking about just basically how there's a completely different player base from what we have here in North America versus what we have in other places all over Asia and pretty much just the rest of the OCG neighboring countries. A lot of the players in the TCG are just looking to play competitively, and they're just looking to go ahead and find some kind of way to be able to go ahead and make themselves have a name for whatever it is that they're doing with their decks. Which, you know what, I get it. There's going to be always those players who are just going to want to be in the game for the money and fame and glory of being a player here. But that's pretty much where one of the big problems lies, is the fact that when you have a bunch of players who are in the game for those reasons, because they just want to go ahead and have the name for themselves, it's hard to find anybody who's going to be playing just to have fun or just trying to try out new decks or trying out decks that have been made before that are a completely different playstyle, but just trying to enjoy the game for the sake of enjoying the game. Granted, some players do take pride out of just winning and things like that, and it's okay, if that's how you have fun in this game, then sure, go for it. But the problem is that, and this is going back to what Neodrao said, Neodrao makes a certain point in his video that is valid, but he goes about it completely wrong way. He pretty much brings his argument about in the completely worst of ways. And what I mean by that is, by calling people sheep, you're automatically adding a negative connotation, and you're pretty much being somebody who's just attacking everybody else. That gets you nowhere in an argument. What he might be trying to say, though, and what I think is the more appropriate thing to say, is the fact that there is a very, very large lack of any kind of creativity, originality, or just basically a sense of individuality amongst a lot of the players in the game right now. And before you guys try and start hating on me, let me go ahead and clarify what I mean by that. There is definitely a lack of creativity in this game. And it's not the player's fault for that, not necessarily. Because I've been playing this game since it came out back in 2000, 2001. And one of the things that just happens to change over time is the fact that there's always a new meta. There's always new cards being added. There's always something else being added into the game that wasn't in their last format and previous formats ago, because the game has to evolve. I mean, think about it. We had one format which was really, really slow and a bigger grind game like Go Control was. Now, the last format that we had, the last meta we had, was basically just dragons. It was just dragons, dragons, dragons. Slow format versus really fast format. Metas change. The game has to evolve in order for it to be able to go ahead and have some kind of competitive level going on for it. And that's just the truth. It's hard to be able to try and come up with a consistently creative deck every single format because A, it's time consuming and you can't just build a creative deck. If you could just build a creative deck whenever you want, we'd be seeing a lot more creativity in this game than we are seeing right now. But in addition to that, it's really, really hard to be trying to do that for every single format. I mean, if you were trying to come up with like a creative and new deck every single year or every single format that we have, you would get exhausted from it. It's not easy work. But anyways, that's one of the problems with creativity. And originality, you can't really be original in this game. Like, it's really, really hard to say that you made a completely original deck, because even people who like come up with YCS winning decks that are like fairly out there, like creative, like you're gonna have to net deck something, or you're gonna have to at least have some kind of like previous idea from other decks that you've seen before. No matter how much you might play a deck or like try and make a new deck as it is, it's gonna be difficult to try and make something that's original, because of the fact that there's over 1,000 cards in this game, true, but we have had over 10 years playing this game. I'm pretty sure by now a lot of players have already exhausted like pretty much all sorts of builds that we have. You can go to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wikipedia page and you can see like that there's so many different decks that people have tried out, so many things that people have tried out for the new formats. And what basically just equates to is the fact that like we've already tried everything. We've tried almost everything that we can, like from the past years. We've made like something out of every kind of deck. Like me playing my heroes and all that, I've pretty much tried every hero build that there is. I've tried between like my standard hero build with like my Ocean Woodsman combos, which is my favorite one. I've tried pretty much just like regular hero, vanilla hero beatdown, things like that. I've tried like hero beat standard, like the one that's really popular, Alias Spark, Bubbleman, all that. And I've even tried like other rogue decks. Like I've tried like Lady Heat Burn, I've tried like Bubble Burn, I've tried Konosp Control, things like that. There's a lot of different builds for heroes. But at a certain point, you run out of ideas, because there's only so far you can go with this game. And as far as innovation goes, I think that's probably what he was trying to go to, an individuality. A lot of players nowadays are not playing the game for the sake of just being able to have like something of their own, at least something that they can call theirs. A lot of players are just playing so that they can go ahead and top at a YCS or regional, get their prize, get their invite to nationals, and then try and basically take on people at Nats and Worlds. That's the truth of things. And people are going to be just using whatever's best deck or like whatever's winning the event so that they can go ahead and have a better spot to make it to that level. That's the truth of things. Like that's what's really going to be everything coming down to. There's just people who are going to be looking at whatever's the best thing right now in the game, and they're just going to emulate that. So yeah, there is a little bit of truth to what he's trying to say. That doesn't mean people are sheep, okay? Because there are people in this game who are going to be wanting to try and have some kind of sense of like self-worth like in the game by being able to make like new decks. Some people who are not going to be playing the game for like the competitive aspect. Take me for instance. I barely go to any competitive events. I could if I wanted to, but I work. I'm making money at least instead. It's getting me money, I prefer to go ahead and do that, especially in a game where I'm not making any money by winning these events. Otherwise, I might consider it. So ARG, you better get on it over here to the West Coast. But other things about that is just the fact that like, well, I want to go ahead and try and defend the Yu-Gi-Oh community by saying at least that not everybody's bad. I mean, like I said, take the OCG for example. Those guys over there are playing for fun. They're playing like trying out a lot of creative decks and a lot of new styles and things like that. And they just want to grow from the game. Like they want to grow up personally and just kind of try new things out whenever they can. They get to do a lot of cool combos with like some of the cards that they have because they didn't get the banhammer that we did. So they can still play pretty creatively over there, at least in a sense, if you want to think of it like that. I don't believe that there is a term for, at least I don't believe that the term skill for Yu-Gi-Oh! And all that and the term creativity are like really, really badly portrayed. Like nobody really understands what those words should mean in this game. And it's not a bad thing, it's just the fact that, well, let me go ahead and give an example again from my life. I am right now working on this one project deck. Actually, yeah. I'm right now working on this one project deck that's been taking me about a year now to try and go ahead and like keep building up, keep trying to improve and things like that. And it's coming along now, so I mean at least I'm making progress and everything. But it's taken me a year and it's still an incomplete design, but it's so far doing pretty well for my standards. Like I'm liking the way that this deck is working out. I'll give you guys a little hint, again, this guy, so you can remember kind of what it might be about. But it's hard to come up with something that's original, creative, and fun, and of course competitive, but again, everybody's going to be a different kind of player in this game. Not everybody's going to be in here to try and be winning like all the top events. Not everybody wants to even like go to the top events. I would much rather just go ahead and be able to go to my locals, be able to play with my friends, be able to go and record a few duels that are pretty fun to watch and things like that, and just have a good time. I mean, I'm not that big on just trying to like find the games where like I record them and I win and then I post them. If I win them, it's cool. But if I win a game and it's not fun or it's not cool to like put it up, I don't put it up. And if I find a game that actually is like really fun, like took a lot of effort and it was like a lot of back and forth, a really good grind game, even if I lose, I'll probably put it up just because of the fact that it's cool to watch something like that. But a lot of people don't see it that way. So I guess more than anything is just the fact that like responding back to Neodrao's video and things like that, and responding to the whole issue of just answering the fact that there are really not a lot of players in this game who are in it to play it creatively anymore, to play it to the sense where they can actually try and grow themselves like from whatever it is that they're playing from. Yeah, that's the sad truth. But that's not everybody. I mean, take me and my buddy like for my team. He and my buddy, my teammate and all that, he plays a lot of the meta decks. Like he right now runs Crockery Geargias and he has Evil Swarm and Fire Kings and I think he had Mermails on the side for some point, but yeah, he had like a bunch of meta decks. And he plays every single weekend at the locals tournaments and things like that. He's always winning or at least topping the tournaments in our store. And that's what he does. Me? Well, I work now. But back in the past, I wouldn't enter the tournaments like with my meta decks. Most meta deck I had was my heroes, but I just enter with the fun decks. Like I enter with fun variants of decks and things like that. Like I'm really not in it to try and just make a statement for myself or make a name for myself. I feel like I'm a good enough player to the point where I don't need to try and prove it to anybody else. I make as many good plays as I can. I try not to misplay, and if I misplay, I misplay. I'm only human. I'm not perfect. I know that much, but a lot of people usually don't take it that way. A lot of people like just take this game a little bit too seriously sometimes. So more than anything, I would just like to ask all of you guys, look back at your life, look back at your locals, look back at your friends and all that, who you're playing games with, and what you're playing yourself. Are you playing a deck that you're playing for fun, or are you playing a deck competitively? And is that your thing? Are you playing a deck that's competitive, and are you liking playing a deck that's competitive? If you are, that's cool. Go ahead and enjoy what you're doing. I mean, I know I can't change every player in the game, but if you're playing a deck that's competitive, but you get bored with it, or you're constantly switching decks every other time, try something new. Like, just try borrowing a friend's deck that you never played before, that you kind of have seen play before, but have no idea. Like, at least grow yourself a little bit in that sense. Like, try and expand your horizon at that point. That's what I was trying to find the word for. But just look at what you have going on for yourself right now and see, can I grow from this experience? Can I actually play like a fun deck? Can I find something that's not necessarily like original for myself, but it can be creative, like something that I can play that is going to be new for me and something that I can enjoy more than I am right now? And if you can, go for it. You'll find that a lot of times it's actually pretty fun to try out new decks like that are actually fun and not standard meta decks. But it's not for everybody, so it's alright if you're not. I'm just trying to say again, sometimes you might be enlightened. You'd be pleasantly surprised to see what you can do with certain other cards that you might have. And otherwise, I hope that at least everybody was able to get like some kind of sense of at least understanding what's going on here with the game and everything. People are not sheep. If anything, it's just the fact that it's just one asshole that is just trying to make a statement for himself, even though he's doing a very piss-poor job about it. And just try and enjoy yourself, at least for what you can in this game. I mean, this game is fun, and you can definitely enjoy yourself. It's just a matter of making sure you don't fall victim to whatever standardized hypes or things like that you're finding from other players. And one sec, I'm gonna get that. Do I have it in here? I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to fit some new cards into my deck, so I'm just trying to see what I can do. But yeah, I mean, just enjoy yourselves in the game. Just try new things out from here and there. And just appreciate whenever you see somebody else playing a fun deck. Just try and watch a little bit. Maybe you might see something you haven't seen before. And who knows? You might be surprised. But Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And again, Neodrao, if you are watching this video, if you ever do watch this video at some point, next time think before you speak. At least think about what you want to say, because I don't care if like you still stand by your statement, which if you do, I'll kind of praise you for that, because I admire people who are able to stand by their opinions, even if they're bad ones. But hopefully you're able to understand that you went about that wrong, you made the wrong statements, and you completely pissed off an entire community of players. You pretty much just made yourself like a bad name for the game now. And otherwise, I hope things are going well for everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. Well, at least today's Happy Valentine's Day and all that. So I'm just going to be spending it in my house by myself because I love myself too much. But otherwise, this has been Jaku, guys, and I'll catch you guys later.